Thanks for joining. It's nice to have
Thanks for
you. It's
having
nice
me.
to sit down with you and like have a conversation. I don't know if we've
Yeah,
actually done that. Well, we've
yeah,
like played games together, right?
yeah. We did was it Gardic phone and then the one video collab, I guess.
Yeah.
But
So it's
yeah,
nice
yeah.
to like sit down and have proper conversation.
hmm
How have you been? What have you been working on lately?
Lately working on an update, like a roguelike update for Endoparasitic. I'm pretty close to being done. I thought I was gonna be done weeks ago, but yeah, just working on getting that out and like last final touches and stuff. And then new
That's
game after that, starting soon.
is that the horror game that you've been
Yeah,
working
yeah.
on?
The one armed horror game I released around Halloween last year.
Uh huh.
So just doing like a big new update, kind of like push it some more, I guess, get more content, more people playing it, kind of thing.
Awesome. You've been
hmm
working on the update since.
Yeah, I guess I took a vacation after release. Well, I did. So I released it, and then I did a bunch of post-release stuff to like fix issues and add some small things people requested. And then I took a vacation for a bit, and then I got back to work. And I was like, all right, let's add some more stuff. And then I've noticed like with my previous game, Rot Flesh, it was like release, bunch of sales, and then I worked on a big update and got a bunch of more sales, and it was like, okay, so it's like kind of I can build on what's already there and drive a bunch of sales from that without having to make an entire new game.
That's a good way to do it. Did you just do the one update after on Rotflesh?
That one big update, yeah, I do kind of have one planned, another one that's been in the works for a while, but I haven't touched in a while because it's a lot more work, and I think the audience is smaller. But down the road, I will eventually do it. Right now, it makes more sense to focus on this.
That's cool. So do you have a plan for when you're going to put this the update for the new one out?
Hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I want to get. Yeah, it's pretty much just like some sound effects and a few minor tweaks and a lot of play testing, and then yeah, I'm gonna put it out on a beta and just then I can get more feedback. And when people actually play it, I'm sure a bunch of more issues will come up. But then yeah, so soon should be done, should be out. Yeah, yeah.
How do you do your testing? Do you have like a group of people you send it to, or you just put it out to everybody?
It's before release. I have like a Patreon, and I just put builds up on there, and people, anyone who wants to play it, they can play it. And I mean, the way it worked before, I know Patreon changed their subscription options before, but it used to be it was like you can sign up and then you get charged at the first of the month. So I would just tell people sign up, play it. If you don't want to give me any money through this, just cancel before the first of the month or something. And then most people never did that though, never like canceled. But
Hmm.
now I think it's just you sign up and you get charged right away, and then it's like based off of the day you get charged based off the day you signed up or something. But I found Patreon is good for getting people to like kind of play test your games. It's like a reward. They get to play your game if they give you some money on Patreon. It's a good incentive, and then you get play testers. We don't get a lot of play testers. Most of the play testing seems to come from release.
Yeah.
Um, Otherwise, it's just me playing the game usually,
Hmm.
just playing through and looking for issues.
That's cool. So on your Patreon, is that the basic? That's the entirety of it, or you do other stuff with the Patreon too?
Yeah, that's the entirety. I used to, I don't know what I used to do. Yeah, I think it was just, I've always just done gamed demos. Like right at the start, I tried a few, I was giving out like source code of my games. Like
Hmm.
as I was working on them, like Rot Flesh, I was doing like, I would share the source code on there. And then at some point, I was just like, oh, I don't really want to share this. I'll just share the games. And then I started promoting that more and noticed that a lot of people were back, and I was actually making decent income just from Patreon from
Hmm.
that before.
That's
hmm
cool. You're pretty transparent about how you finance your stuff, right? I know you've got
Yeah.
videos on the topics.
Ever since I was transparent until I had like a hit game, a Rot Flesh released and did really well, because it didn't feel like any point to share at that point. It's just
Yeah.
like my game did well, I made a bunch of money. You can't really, there's nothing to learn from that, I feel like. Whereas
Yeah,
before
that's
it was
fair.
like I'm making an income doing like five different things not a lot of people are doing, and so it was like it seemed like a good learning thing or teaching, useful thing for people to learn.
So what were the five things you were doing before the game's success?
Patreon was
Hmm.
a big one. Courses, I would just make like game development courses, and I had a few that were like related to the game I was working on. So it was like, okay, here I'm making this first person shooter with retro graphics. So here's my course on how to do retro 3D graphics. Here's my course on how to make a first person shooter in the game engine I'm doing. And
Hmm.
then I can just, when I make my devlogs and put them on YouTube at the end, I can just be like, oh, if you want to learn how to make a game like this, check out my courses. So it was like it was a good like ad, I guess, for my own stuff.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
kind of feed into each other. It works
Yeah.
out nicely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So wait, so that was Patreon courses.
And then YouTube, getting decent. I used to get a decent amount of ad revenue when I posted more videos. I was
Uh-huh.
more active on there. And I did Twitch for a while. Twitch actually, I mean, you probably know better than me, but it's like surprising how much money you make based on, I don't know, comparatively to YouTube. It's like YouTube, I get this many views and this much ad revenue, and then on Twitch you get this much views and this much ad revenue. It's like more, I guess, it's a lot higher based on
That's
your
so
viewership.
that's funny. I actually didn't I only recently learned how little you make on YouTube per
Yeah,
video with game development. I was like
yeah.
surprised. Like I don't monetize it my videos, so I was like, you make that little on YouTube? Like that's
Hmm.
so and apparently it depends like what your topic is, but nobody
Yeah,
wants to advertise in game development, which
yeah,
is kind of mind blowing. There's so many things you can be
yeah.
selling.
I mean, you just advertise courses. That's like what I've noticed on other channels when they have
Mhm.
ads. It's like another game dev YouTuber promoting their course. And
Right.
then, but I know I get like 90 cents per thousand views, which is apparently really bad. I remember talking to some other YouTuber a while back. And he was like, "You're getting screwed." Like he's making like,
90 cents per 1,000 views?
yeah, yeah. And he was saying he got like 6 times that much. He was getting $6 per thousand views or something else. What? That's
Thank goodness your Patreon's been doing well and
yeah,
stuff. And like, but you said that you stopped doing YouTube as much, probably because your
yeah,
games are probably
yeah.
giving
That's
more
my main
money.
focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you did for how long did you do the five sources of income? Like, were those while you made the one game, or were you doing other
Yeah.
stuff as well?
It was like over the course of, I guess, 2 years. Yeah, start of 2020 was when I went full time self employed. So I
Mm-hmm.
was doing everything I possibly could. Also, I was making some money on Steam and a little bit
Mm-hmm.
on Itch, but I didn't have any like hit games, so it was just like a couple hundred a month or something.
Okay.
But that was until, when did I release? I think end of 2021. So it was about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
2 years that was my income, just doing a bunch of different things, combining them together. And it was kind of cool, but it was also like very time consuming. I couldn't like work on my games like I wanted to, because I had to put all this time into like, okay, now I need to make an entertaining video. It's like, oh, I'm running low, my income courses sales are dropping, I need to do another video that can promote them, so let's do another 4 devs video, one art kit, jam, or like let's do, I need to put out another devlog or something. So it was like it took a lot of time away from the actual games development.
Yeah, it is time. It's video creation is very time consuming.
Yeah,
I mean, any content creation is really.
yeah. I mean, I guess Twitch, I don't know, because you can actually work on your game while you're doing it. So it's like,
Yeah. I know that's why I stick to Twitch all the time because I'm
yeah,
like I can just work on my game, but also like be connected to
yeah.
people.
I found it
And
very
really-
stressful though when I've done Twitch, like, because it's just I feel like I have to talk and be interesting and explain everything I'm doing at the
Mhm.
same time that I'm thinking and doing work and like programming and solving problems, and it's just so many things that my voice gets tired after like 3 or 4 hours. I'm just like exhausted. I don't know
Yeah.
how have you maintained like endurance. I remember seeing you did like your first vacation in several years or something, and like it was like a 1 week vacation, and you're doing like 8 hour streams every day or something.
Yeah, I stream a lot and to be honest, like I don't really know how. It takes up like all of my time. Like it's hard to I mean, you probably know because you do so many things yourself, but
Yeah,
I think when people just, they work normal 9 to 5 jobs, they don't understand how much time it takes up because when I'm streaming, like I
yeah,
don't do anything else. Like I work on my
yeah,
game, so that's great, but I don't
yeah,
like send messages. I don't check emails. I don't really
yeah,
do once in a while, but not really.
yeah,
So like when I'm done, I'm exhausted, and then I'm doing all of
yeah,
the like communication stuff. So
yeah,
it's very little time outside of
yeah.
it.
I remember when I worked have you ever worked like a normal 9 to 5
Oh
before
yeah, yeah. Up
Twitch?
until
Yeah.
about like 5 or 6 years ago, I've been.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I did 1 year after I graduated, and then
Hmm.
that was like during that year I was trying to build my YouTube channel. So it was like I just remember you come home from work, and then it's like now I'm tired and I need to spend like 2 or 3 hours just doing nothing, and then now I feel
Hmm.
like I can work on my YouTube channel or my game or something. And it's just like
Yeah.
it wasn't just the time you're at work; it's like the time getting there, coming home, and like unwinding from it, and
Hmm.
it's like it adds up to like 13 hours, even though it's a 9 to 5.
Yeah. Sometimes I didn't even have the energy after that. I'm like,
Yeah,
I can't program right now.
yeah,
Like my brain's fried.
yeah, yeah.
That's part of why I went full time. Like I just saved up and I was like, I just want to spend dedicated time. I've been wanting to like do this. I barely can find time between work. Like,
How
so
long did it take you to get self-sustaining?
well, it's hard to say because like I had been planning, I'd been saving money, and I wasn't really sure like what I was going to do with it. If I was going to like, I wasn't sure if I was going to invest or something, but I decided I was going to invest in like my own education by like
Yeah.
just spending time focusing on learning stuff. And so I was like living off savings for a while and slowly adding to that with like sponsored streams and
Yeah.
this and that. And then even like, it's gone up and down to a point where sometimes it's like, oh, I got to go back to the savings, but I keep
Mm-hmm.
trying to like replenish it. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been kind of self-sustaining for a few years now. I don't know exactly
Nice.
how long it took to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, was that like, it was the 2 years doing that, and then
Yeah.
now your games basically get you by?
Yeah. Games, it's like, I guess it was like sustaining, and then once the games started, it was like, okay, now I can like take a break and I can do other stuff and like I can experiment and like, I mean, I'm working on buying a house now, so that's like a big deal, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Congrats.
it's like it gives the success gave like a big breathing room, so it's like, okay,
Wow.
I don't have to be pushing, I don't have to be on it and stressing and stuff, and
That's
like
awesome.
it's not like okay, I have this many months before I run out or something, and then Steam pays you 2 months after the game sale, so I have to make sure I release by this date so that I get the payment by here or something, you know.
Right.
No more worrying about that, which is nice. Yeah,
That's good. That's awesome. Congrats.
thank
That's
you.
huge.
Yeah.
So what is your day to day before that? Before the game success, the first game, I guess,
Hmm.
because you have now two successful games. But before your successful game and after, how has your life
Yeah.
changed?
Um, I mean, it's like, I think it's very similar. I feel like I work less now a little bit, but
Hmm.
there's like these cycles of like, I'll work a little bit. I work a few hours a day for like a period of time. And then I'll have like a crunch mode or something where I work like 10 to 15 hours a day for like a month straight or something. Like that's usually like closer to release, or it's like, oh, I really want to hit this release this
Hmm.
certain time, or like I promised this release date that was like rock flesh, where it's just like I work like crazy, or if it's like I'm about to go traveling, so I need to finish this before then, so I just work insanely hard,
Hmm.
um, and then that just completely burns me out, and then I go take a break for a while or something. It's hard to find. I've struggled a lot to find the middle balance where it's just like, okay, I work this many hours every day and get a lot done. I found like for me, it seems like the limit actually is like for maintaining and not getting burnt out is about 5 hours a day, which
Hmm.
is like, but I guess it like sounds like, wow, only 5 hours of work, but it's like 5 hours of solid focused doing everything 100% kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's no like distraction, no taking a break. It's just like 5 hours of hard solid work, and that wears
Mm.
you down so fast, where it's like where when I worked 9 to 5, I was not doing that much work. It was like, even though I was there 8 hours, it's like, here's a meeting, oh, now I need to work on this, but I need to talk to this guy and he's busy until this time, and so now I just have to wait here and not do anything. And it was like, yeah, I don't know. Even
Yeah,
though
no,
it's
it's
like,
true. I wonder if we just did
yeah,
5 hours of solid work at
yeah,
like a typical job, it'd probably be similar to like
yeah,
meetings and all the things that go along with it.
yeah. I've experimented with streaming on and off. Like I did a couple months, I think recently, or a month, I
Hmm.
don't remember, where I was streaming every day for like 4 hours or something. And
Hmm.
just as a way to like force me to have a routine and like work for a set time. But I found it was making game development not as fun for me. So I
Really?
just stopped. Yeah.
Why is that? 'Cause it's just too tiring?
Yeah, I guess because it's like I can't listen to I can't listen to a lot of music that I'd like to listen to because of copyright reasons or whatever, and I can't just relax into programming. Like I enjoy the programming and solving stuff, whereas if I'm on stream, I have to talk about it and explain what I'm doing, and so I can't just relax into it and get into the zone. I guess the programming zone.
Hmm.
Sometimes I've been able to get into the zone while streaming, where I just talk about what I'm doing and I don't even realize I'm talking, and then like an hour will pass and I'm like, wow, my voice is going, or something.
Yeah,
Um,
my voice is like constantly on the verge of losing it.
yeah, yeah.
Talking so much.
How is it for you? I guess you've done it for so long, you're very used to it, or like I don't know. Do you find that you get in the zone easily when you're working and
I
streaming?
can, and you know what? It's kind of interesting because like sometimes I just get into the zone, and I mean, I feel like because I've been doing it for so long, I don't really think about it. I'm just like, I'll just say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys, I'm really into it right now. Like,
Yeah,
I'll read chat in a bit." You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, so I think people kind of get it, and if anything, I think like it's not necessarily a bad thing if you're just focusing on your work. It's kind of like it's kind of good for people to see all the
Yeah,
different sides of game
yeah,
development, and maybe it's inspiring to people to be like, oh look, they're really focusing, maybe I should focus on my work too, or
yeah.
whatever, right?
Do you find that there's like, I don't know, cycles you go through every day where it's like, because I remember watching some of your streams before and noticing you'll be like, all right, now we're like watching memes in the top left corner or something while I work, or like, or now I'm doing Pomodoro and it's like I'm not interacting for the next 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do have the most energy probably like half an hour to an hour into the stream. Like once I'm like
Hmm.
woken up and I've had a coffee, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's when I can like do the most work. And I kind of gotten used to like multitasking when it comes to like talking to people while I'm working.
Hmm.
But there's sometimes where I'm just like, I need like a mental break. I want to like watch some memes or like
Yeah.
play GeoGuessr or like
Hmm.
some like random break. So that does come up, but it's not really like something I can predict or a specific routine or cycle. It just happens sometimes.
Hmm.
You said that you only work a few hours a day now, unless you're kind of in a crunch mode. Is that
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so, what is your life outside of game development like?
Let's see. I guess it's changed a lot. COVID kind of just like ended a lot of things I used to do. So I still haven't like adjusted to after that. Um, I don't know. It's mostly at home. I watch a lot of StarCraft, Brood War, like StarCraft, the original one from like the '90s. I follow the competitive scene in Korea a lot. So right now there's the big like championship going on. So I've been like following everything from that. Pretty
Do
much
you
just that. Hmm?
do you play it as well? Or you just
No,
into
I
watching?
haven't played since I was a kid. I just watch it. Yeah, it's like weird because it's such an old game, and it's funny hearing the casters like explain things like, "Oh yeah, so in this part, because this ability is being cast here, range units can't hit it. But the way it works is that to cause it to miss, the game just moves the hit shot to the left a little bit. So things with splash damage still hit over here. I don't. It's like they'll explain like there's all these like really weird like broken mechanics in the game because it's like an old game, just the way they programmed it.
So there's esports around a game that people are actually like using the bugs
Yeah,
as like strategy.
yeah, yeah. There's like so many weird little bugs in it that the game is just like strategies have developed around, and it's like I don't know. It's so interesting to see, but it's such a hard game to play. It's not
Yeah,
very fun to play, but it's very fun to watch.
right. I've only
Yeah.
played StarCraft 2 and I didn't play it for
Mhm.
very long. Did not want to
Oh yeah,
I did not want to put the work in to be good.
yeah, yeah. That's the problem with a lot of those games. I feel like the funner competitive games, you really have to like treat it like a job to get good at and have fun.
Yeah. The only one I kind of got into is like League of Legends.
Hmm.
That one that one, but when I watch it, like I just want to play it.
Oh
And then when
yeah,
I play it, I'm like, ugh,
yeah.
this
That
is
was me
not
with
fun.
Dota. Played Dota, which but I just remember like getting into it and then coming back to it and like having a horrible match and like all my teammates were super toxic and I was like, why am I playing this? Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's like at some point, whenever I'm playing, I'm like, I'm just taking a break from like my pretty peaceful life to get angry.
yeah,
Like, why
yeah,
am I taking a break to get angry?
hmm,
So I don't play
yeah.
it very often, but
So yeah, I guess watching that, I travel like here and there. I have a lot of friends overseas, so I like to visit them like I don't know once a year, twice a year or something. And
sorry,
then
where you have a lot of friends where?
overseas, like England mostly,
Overseas.
England and Europe.
Oh,
So I go visit
nice.
them
That's
once or
cool.
twice a year. Yeah, yeah, it's fun. I don't know. Europe is such. I would love to live in Europe. I feel like it's so nice. Like the cities there are so different from American cities and so like pleasant to live in, and just like I don't know, casual hangouts are so different there than they are in the U.S. where it's like you have to get in a car to go somewhere, and then it's like there's not really any. I don't know. You can't like explore a city. You can't just amble around and like, what's that? Let's go over there. It's like here, it's like, let's plan the itinerary, like check Google Maps, find it. We all get in our separate cars and drive there. It's like a much
Mhm.
different style. Yeah,
I find like
travel. Yeah,
bigger cities or walkable cities in like
yeah,
Canada and US is a bit more like that, but
hmm,
I know what you mean. There's just kind of like a nice chill um,
yeah,
atmosphere to it. You don't have to like plan things as much maybe because it's
hmm,
not as busy or as
yeah.
like booked up.
And I like that they have the walkable cities are also very like anti-car. So if you're just
Mm,
walking around, you don't feel like you're being like assaulted by like car horns or whatever all the time,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Right.
hmm
Yeah, I was in Vancouver recently, and they had like a bunch of lanes of streets that had been turned into patios.
hmm
They would just close off, like between the two blocks would be closed off. It was really nice. It just
hmm
made it feel like a you were allowed to be there rather than you were in the way when
yeah,
you were moving around.
hmm it's nice, it's pleasant. It's like, why isn't it always like this, or why isn't it like this in the
Yeah.
U.S. or something?
What
Uh,
part of the U.S. are you in?
I was in North Carolina for a long time, and now I'm in Florida. Moved down
Oh,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
When did you move and when did you
Beginning of
move? Why
last
did you
year.
move? And what's the difference like?
So beginning of last year, I guess, my family moved down, and then I've just known people here for years since I was a kid, and we've always visited. So I was like, pretty much everyone I know has moved down to North Carolina. So it's like, all right, I might as well move to Florida. Everyone I know moved here. Um, I don't know anyone else in the rest of the U.S., so like nowhere else to live, I guess. So it just made sense. Um,
Hmm.
it's all right here. I don't know. It's sunny. There's springs. It's nice. I like mountains more, but yeah,
So you don't feel like I love it here. I'm so glad I moved here. It's
yeah,
more like it just kind of made sense.
yeah. It just made sense. It was like, all right, yeah, that's fine.
Florida seems like
hmm
a cool place to live. I like Florida. It's
hmm
warm. I don't know. It's got all the things you need.
Yeah, yeah. Except good internet. It's like old infrastructure, like cable company monopolies and stuff.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it's
That's
like I spent a year in Colorado, and I just remember $40 a month for like 1 gig symmetrical fiber, and then you come here and it's like $115 for 1 gig down, 35 megabytes up, cable, 1 terabyte limit a month. So I mean, you're probably not going to hit the limit, but you could. There's a limit, so it's like,
I would probably hit the limit.
yeah, you're streaming every day. Yeah,
Yeah. That is the most important thing for me whenever I am looking to
yeah,
live somewhere. Like that is wild to me because we're kind of notoriously bad for phone and internet in Canada because we don't have enough
hmm
competitors. But like
oh yeah,
that's even worse than here.
yeah,
A lot worse than here.
yeah. You're in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been there?
Um, Pretty much most of my life. I grew up like kind of in the suburbs of the city, and then I mean I lived in England for a few years,
hmm
but otherwise I've been pretty much in
Oh,
Toronto.
nice. What part of England?
London.
Oh, London. Yeah,
Yeah. What part of
London's
England do you visit?
usually Hertfordshire. It's like, or Watford, which is, I always forget. I think it's north of London.
Hmm.
I always get it mixed up, but yeah. Well, I've gone to London a fair amount of times. I like London more than New York. I think it's like a chiller New York
I actually
usually.
haven't been to New York City, which is wild
Oh,
because it's
really?
not that far. Yeah.
Yeah, you should go. It's an experience.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. And I do like Toronto a lot. Everyone's like, it's like a bigger, better Toronto. You should, why aren't you going?
Yeah, yeah.
But I loved London. Like,
hmm
I feel like London has a lot of the good parts of Toronto, like lots of things going on. There's
hmm
so many people who are like, trying to follow dreams and do cool
Yeah,
stuff. There's many events. And then on top of that, there's so much cool history and architecture.
yeah,
It's so
yeah.
cool.
New York has all the, what's it, the original skyscrapers, and kind of like where skyscrapers first started appearing, I guess, and
Oh
like
yeah?
developing. Yeah,
That sounds cool
it's like,
too. I mean, I feel like we have some cool historical buildings in Toronto, but like the ones in London are just like a different level.
yeah,
Like they're
yeah,
hundreds of
because
years
they're
old.
ancient. Yeah,
Yeah.
the timelines are ridiculous there. It's just like you go to what's it, the cathedrals and stuff. I remember going to one and they're like, yeah, this one's like 1,500 years old or something. It's like,
It's
it's
hard to
like,
wrap your head. Like, how is it still there?
yeah,
What's been going on? Like,
yeah,
imagine how people have come and gone through this building. It's just so hard
hmm
to fathom.
yeah. Whoever built it in the first place, just like probably didn't even imagine people 1,000 years
Yeah.
later there.
That's a good point. I wonder what the
Yeah,
people building it, they're like, yeah, this will be here for thousands of years.
yeah,
I mean, they
yeah,
built it really well, so maybe they
yeah.
did know it was going to be long lasting, but
hmm
I wonder how long like our current buildings will last. I wonder if they'll last for.
I don't know. Probably not. I think most modern buildings are designed for like one or two lifetimes or something.
Then what?
I guess you replace it, tear it
You
down.
just like take it all down and put up something else?
Yeah, I think. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
How do you
doing.
even take down some of these skyscrapers? I guess the same way you put them up, just a lot of
Yeah,
cranes, a lot of
yeah.
work. Damn.
Smash up the top parts and then work your way down. I
Yeah.
guess.
They're doing a lot of taking down of old buildings in Toronto all the time, but they're like, 4-story buildings.
Yeah,
So I don't know what it's going to look like in, yeah, like you said, a couple lifetimes when all these
yeah.
40-story buildings are going to have to come down. That's going to be like,
I don't know if
this
the
is going to be
40-story
different.
buildings. I'm just thinking of like apartments, complex, and houses, newer housing developments. I guess more
Yeah.
like cheaply developed. I don't think you can build a skyscraper cheap and get away with it.
I don't know.
Hopefully, yeah,
There's this like a really infamous story about in Toronto. There was a building that they built, and apparently it like completely finished to a point where people were moving in, and they had forgot to put bathrooms in.
how do you forget that?
Apparently this is a real thing, and I don't know how this happened or what the explanation is behind it, but you know, I would not put it past some of these developers to build skyscrapers cheaply.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Isn't there some like horror story about some? There's some like famous tower in Toronto somewhere. I think it was Toronto where it was like I don't know. There's a bunch of TikToks about it a while back where it was like it was like known for things going awful there and like people are always posting videos of like police showing up and ambulances and stuff because it was just I think it was because so many people owned houses and were just Airbnbing them or something, so you always had like weird people
Yeah.
coming in.
I think I know it's like the ice tower or something.
Maybe,
I
yeah,
think I
yeah,
know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah,
And that one I think if it's the one you're talking about is like really cool looking. And
yeah,
so like you're like, "Oh, that'd be great to live
yeah,
there." And then there's like these parties and crazy stuff
yeah.
happening all the time.
Hmm.
Yep. What's it like around your area? Is there lots to do? Is there like events that you go to? Do you have
Uh,
like routines?
no, not right now. I mean, there's like UF is nearby. My girlfriend goes there. She's doing her master's. Um,
It's
and
a
then
university?
yeah, University of Florida. That's
Okay.
pretty big. I know some people there around that area.
Hmm.
And then some community I know I go to. Um, I don't know. Not a lot of. I need to like find stuff. I guess that's the thing about a college town is like if you're older than 20, it stops being as fun, and you just start to feel older.
That's
Or
true.
if you're older than I guess 23, then you start to feel old, and then it's
Yeah.
like and
I was
it's
gonna
like what
ask
am
if
I
you ever
doing?
go hang out on campus, but I guess the answer is no, because
No.
if you feel old, it's not gonna feel good.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, let's look at all the teenagers.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, I guess are you planning to stay in Florida for a long time?
Yeah, I guess because I'm getting a house for a while, and there's
Hmm.
yeah family and stuff, and I know a lot of people kind of in the area. It's still yeah. I mean, I've only been here like a year, and it's yeah about a year, so I'm still like figuring out stuff to do and whatever. And also, it's like the only other place I'd want to live would probably be England, but it's not easy. I think to move there, or I don't know. What was your experience? Because you probably had a visa there and stuff.
Uh, it was actually very easy for me to move there,
Oh,
but
really?
that's only because like
Oh,
Canada,
you're
so,
Canadian. Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and England have like these youth mobility visas. So you can
Yeah.
just, if you're under like 30 or 35 or something, you can just go live there for up to 2 or 3
Dang.
years or something. You can live
Yeah.
and work there. It's great, but that's the only reason I'm back is because mine ran out, and like
Oh.
I was going through so many different routes of like
Yeah.
trying to get a citizenship there,
Yeah.
and like first I was trying to get one through like my parents because they're European,
Yeah.
and they didn't have theirs, so like they would have had to get theirs, and they never did. So I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
what's my next
Yeah.
step?
Yeah.
My work was trying to sponsor me to stay, but then they like sold a business halfway through. So I was back in Canada for a while, and like they're like, this is gonna take another 6 months
Yeah.
at least. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm staying here.
Yeah. I think my only option, from what I remember looking at, was it'd either be marriage if I like married someone there, or if I think got an entrepreneurship visa or something,
Oh, how
which
does
is
that
like
work?
if you're, I don't, I just remember seeing it was like okay, or I guess if a student visa, if I just started taking classes, I could get a visa, but I don't want to do that. But it was like you have to deposit like $50,000 or something, and then just say you're starting a business there, and then you can move there and pretend you're doing a business. I guess that was the only run I remember actually like being feasible. But that was like 6 or 7 years ago. I looked at that.
I mean, you wouldn't have to pretend because you do game development, so you could just have your
Yeah,
game development company be based out of there, right?
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, if you wanted to
Uh,
pretend, I know a lot of people that I talked to in London were like, it's like very well known that a lot of people will just go to school there so they can get the
yeah.
student visa, but there's like these colleges set up that they're just like, you only go for the minimum number of hours. You don't have any
Yeah.
homework. You don't really have to do anything, but you get your visa that way. So like they go to school, but they don't really study anything that they care about, for example.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you want to go through that.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe it'd be fun to take something like completely unrelated.
stick like philosophy or something.
Yeah, or I don't know, maybe like writing or something useful in games.
That'd be
Um,
cool, actually. Take a writing
yeah,
course. Yeah,
that would be fun. But then I'd have to pay to live in London.
yeah.
I guess I wouldn't have to live there. I could just take the train, but still annoying commuting.
Brighton's a really cool city, and it's not that far. Well, it's like an hour commute, but it's
Yeah.
a little cheaper, and it's like a really cool kind of
hmm
like a lot of culture and cool stuff.
I've yeah, I've never been to Brighton. I've had like a few opportunities to go, and then I was like, let's not go. That's too much work. It's like a
Yeah.
2 hour drive or something. I'm like,
So I'm
Um,
imagining your friends or what brought you to that particular city you mentioned that you go to a lot.
yeah, yeah.
And
hmm
were they from online?
No, we met like 7, 8 years ago through some like youth religious like volunteer thing. We traveled across North America together, setting up
Cool.
like festivals and doing vacation stuff, and then we all became best friends. And then the next year we traveled across Europe. I stayed in London or in England for a while where they were, and then we just kind of like hung out nearly every year except for like when COVID happened.
Hmm.
And then last year we went traveling again, and so yeah, I just kind of know them from that, and then we've always like traveled and done cool stuff. And they're also all very creative. None of them are game developers, but they're all like super creative and successful. It's
That's
kind of
awesome.
funny how we all met before we were like successful at what we loved, and now we're all like becoming successful. And it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of a funny coincidence how that all worked out for
That's
us.
awesome. So they're all like they're able to follow their passions and
Yeah,
make
yeah,
it work. That's cool.
yeah, yeah. It's been fun.
It's
It's
hard to
like,
do. It's so hard to
yeah,
do.
yeah. I
It's
was
nice to
like
see.
thinking, I think I'd pitched it on my community tab once in the post. I was like, it'd be interesting to do like a podcast with them, and we just call it like not starving artists or something, where we're all like
We're
doing,
fed artists.
yeah, we're all doing creative stuff, but we're actually making money from it. And like,
That's
yeah.
cool. What kind of stuff are they doing? Like you said, art is one of them.
So one of them's a woodworker. He's like
Oh, that's
blown
cool.
up on Instagram. He's like
Whoa.
really successful there.
Hmm.
Um, Two of them are in film. One of them's he's working on Rings of Power right now as a
Oh, very cool.
cinematographer, and like he's just like he did The Crown as like a color grader. The other one's just done like small film stuff, and now he's working on like video editing for like indie stuff. And then let's see, other friend, he's like he's really into cars. I guess it's his thing. He tried game development for a bit, and then he was like, whatever, I'm not into
Mhm.
this. But he's like, I mean, I guess he's more like works in the tech field, but he drives on the side. And we went to this famous racetrack in Germany last summer
Mhm.
called the Nurburgring, and we like went in this tiny Porsche, and I'd like cram in the passenger seat for like we drove from England to Germany. You know how there's that underground pass, like
Okay, yeah.
under
Yeah,
the
yeah.
channel. Have you been on that
I
ever?
haven't, but I've heard
Okay.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The train, you load your car up on, or you drive your car on, and then you stay there, and they drive you under the channel. And then yeah, so we drove from there to this racetrack, did a few laps over a couple days. Yeah, it was really fun. There's people from all over Europe drive there, or all over the world come there. There was
That's
like
cool.
we're seeing like drivers from Japan and stuff with their cars they shipped in, and like
Wow. Is there
you
like a
drive on the
hotel
track.
on like that you stay at there and stuff, or is
It's
it just for
like
the day?
there is some hotels. We stayed in Airbnb, but it's just like in the middle of nowhere in Germany. Like you're just driving through like rolling fields, just like a few farmhouses here and there, and then you come to this tiny town, and then there's this huge racetrack and a bunch of infrastructure around it. And it's just like, oh, okay,
That
cool.
sounds
And it's just like
awesome.
you'll just hear like cars, just like the echo of like loud car engines, like echoing through the hills through
Wow.
there. And it's just like, whoa.
You'd have to
So
love cars to live there. Could you imagine?
yeah, I bet. I was thinking, man, everyone who lives here must hate cars or something.
Or
It
they
must be
love them.
so.
They're like, yeah, awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Must be so sick of this noise. Then.
Though, I think like when you live near places that have a lot of sound, like you
Hmm.
start just totally tuning it out.
Yeah.
I live like right like I could jump on the train if I wanted to be like really adventurous.
Yeah,
Like that's how close it was, just off my balcony.
yeah, yeah,
And at first, I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna live here. Like, I'm never gonna sleep.
yeah,
I'm just gonna be horrible. And then at one point, somebody visited, and they're like, "How do you put up with that?" I'm like, "Put up with what?" And like, I was like,
yeah,
"Oh my god, I can't believe I completely tuned it out." So they
yeah.
probably done the same thing.
That was in England or
Oh
in
no, that was
Canada?
in Toronto
Oh,
actually.
okay,
That
yeah,
was in Canada. Yeah.
yeah. I remember all the strikes also in England. It was like, let's take the train. It's like, oh, there's no trains for the weekend. Okay, let's
And
take an
that was in
Uber.
London.
Yeah, London. There was a bunch of strikes last summer.
Mm. I don't think that they were doing that when I was there. They were pretty efficient trains. It's like really
Yeah.
impressive compared to
Oh,
Toronto
yeah.
subway. It's like a city that's way more horizontal and spread out, but you get
Yeah.
around so much faster than Toronto subway. Sounds like you. That's pretty exciting. You looking for a home? You've got a
Yeah.
your game patch coming out. Are you still? How do I put this? Are you still like as passionate about making games now that you've had these successes? More passionate, or are you more like?
Yeah. I think it's. I have. I. It's interesting. It's like I enjoy doing it, and I think it's better because I'm getting more and more to a point where the things I don't enjoy doing, I can just afford to pay people to do those for me.
Hmm.
So it's like I can just more and more focus on the parts that I actually want to do. And then I think I've just gotten with each game I've done, and mostly also through YouTube, just sharing everything I've done. I've just gotten like exponentially better at making games than I used to be like a few years ago.
Hmm.
And it's just like, so it's like I'm enjoying doing it. I get to do the stuff I enjoy more and more. And then I'm also getting better at it. And I feel like the better you are at something, the more fun it is to do. And
Hmm.
then yeah, so that's just like I've got like 4 games I want to do this year that are all like, I mean, I'm probably not going to do all of them, but they're all like just I feel like they're just as good as endoparasitic and like clean, streamlined, like fun thing that's going to be like easy and fun to make and design, and it's just like so I'm feeling pretty good about it. It's not like it's not like consuming my day like I don't know, I don't enjoy working like 10 hours a day or something, but like it's like when I do sit down and work, it's like okay, I'm having fun. This is like creatively challenging, and I like the problem solving and stuff. I don't feel burnt out. The only time I don't like it is when I'm like really burnt out and I've
Yeah.
done too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's exciting as well. And I'm
Hmm.
glad to hear that you're like only enjoying it
Yeah,
more
yeah,
as it goes. That's
yeah, yeah,
yeah. So you've got a few games on the go. Are you gonna still keep making YouTube videos as well?
yeah. It's kind of part of my routine, I guess, where it's like okay, I'm working on this game, and I kind of set myself milestones like I'm going to do these things, and then I'll make a devlog about it, and then I do these things, and I make a devlog about it. So it's like it's just kind of my part of my development cycle where I work on these things, and I'll take a few video clips along the way, and then okay, once I'm done with this, write a script for those, put those in, done, kind of thing. It's just like it's not that hard to do at this point. I guess I have my editing style down and my routine for making videos. I feel I can get a video out. It takes me like a week maybe to make one video
Hmm.
at most if I like do it slowly. And it's just it adds so many sales. It's like it would be dumb not to do it kind of. And
Is
then
that like a devlog or the update videos?
yeah,
That yeah,
devlogs, any kind of devlog, I think just it pushes the game a lot. So and I don't know if you talk about the game and make it sound cool, people are going to want to buy it.
right.
And then that plus TikTok. TikTok's so easy. I don't know. It's like I don't know why anyone would not do TikTok. It's so easy to promote your game on there if you're making something like at all interesting. Kind of, you just talk about it. I mean, even the most boring game. I've seen some pretty boring games on there that get like 10K views easily. And it's like that's
Mm,
something, And
yeah.
it's like it takes me like maybe like 30 minutes to make a TikTok, and so yeah, I don't know. They usually get at least 100,000 to like a million views. So
Wow.
it's like, I don't know, it depends. Yeah, it varies a lot. It's a lot of randomness, but it's like leads to so many sales. It's like, why not? For 30 minutes of work, why not?
That's amazing. So you just kind of
Um,
like show your different parts of your game. Is that kind of the
yeah,
reasoning
just
for it?
like with TikTok, the format's like you just got to grab someone's attention. So you just assume they've never seen your videos before. Just say like, here's what I'm working on. And just say the interesting thing that's like the hook to pull them in, and then
Mm,
just talk about some random cool thing from the game, either like some algorithm or I don't know behind the scenes thing that's interesting or some concept that's cool, and then it doesn't even have to be that interesting. Like with endoparasitic, I think I have one. I think I had one where it was like I added weapon recoil based on people's suggestions. So here, you click to shoot and your hand goes flying off, and that has like 3 million views. And like that's all it was. I was like, wow, that was easy. Like, and
That's so cool.
yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the devlogs, YouTube and TikTok devlogs, and yeah, it's not that hard, and it gives a big reward. I don't say, I wouldn't say I enjoy that as much as game development, but it's just kind of like a necessary part of doing it. I think
Yeah,
if I want my games to sell. Yeah.
sounds like you've really found your way around a number of different platforms because like you do YouTube, you do
Yeah.
Twitch, you've done courses, you do
Yeah.
Patreon, you do TikTok. Like, God, you do
Hmm.
any other platforms? It sounds like so
Uh,
many.
no, I haven't done anything else. I guess Twitter I've done, but I'm not like super successful on there. I mean, I have like 20,000 followers. I've had a few. I've had like a couple videos that went viral. Like I know Parasitic, the release trailer got a ton of views. But Twitter's not something I like try to build or try to
Mhm.
go viral on. It's
Yeah,
just like I don't know. It's usually just like, hey, does anyone know how to do this thing? And then people will answer me, and it's like, okay,
right.
let's do. Yeah,
Yeah. Now, with your YouTube videos, you you mentioned doing devlogs, but you've done like all different types of videos, haven't you? Because like you
yeah,
hosted that dev challenge that I joined
yeah.
you for that one time. Do you have a favorite type of content that you make, and are you going to keep making all
Hmm.
different types of content on there?
I guess now I'm just looking to see what I did. Yeah, devlogs are like my favorite. I think if I'm making a cool game, I like to show it off and talk about it,
Hmm.
and so I enjoy doing that. The other things that I really enjoy doing for devs, one kit, those jams, they're pretty fun, but there's so much work to put together because it's just
Hmm.
like trying to get multiple people together for a video. It feels like herding cats or something. It's just like so much can go wrong and so many things. It's just such a headache. And then editing it. I mean, now I just every time I've done it before now for the last, it was only the first 3 or 4 I think I edited, and then I just started hiring an editor because I was so sick of editing it.
Yeah.
Um, but the other videos that I really enjoyed editing were like older videos. Let's see my popular videos, like my sort of like little one shot tutorials that weren't like programming based, where it's I'm not talking like now we're going to use an if statement or something, but like where I'm talking about how to do like PS1 graphics, or it's just this 2 minute video, just like here's how you do this, or just messing with like a simple concept and like really quick, like this video, old video I have on how I tried making an inaccessible game, like make something that's completely unplayable if you're colorblind or hard of hearing or something. It was
Hmm.
just like some like random one shot video where I take it at concept and I just like wing it and try it out and
Hmm.
then make something cool out of it, like how to make a roguelike in one day. That was really fun.
Hmm.
Simple things that don't take a lot of time and are like super interesting. I think that's I really enjoy doing stuff like that a lot. But
That's
I haven't
cool.
done that in ages, so I don't know if I'll ever do it again. But yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, there's so many different random things you can do, like one-off videos around game development, because you can just make a game and that's the content of the video.
Hmm.
But those take, I can imagine those taking, the little, the amount of time I spend on making YouTube videos, it takes so long to make the video. I couldn't imagine like
Yeah.
making a game just for a video. That sounds like even more
Yeah.
undertaking. But
Yeah. I've noticed you were doing more YouTube, I think. Like you've been trying. What's like your, I don't know, what's your goal with it? What are you trying out?
I mean, it's nice to just to like publish content on a platform other than Twitch because like I guess the thing with Twitch is, you're live, and while you're live, things are happening. There's
Yeah.
conversations. People are finding out about your game and your work, and then once the stream stops, like everything stops.
Yeah.
And yeah, Twitch holds on to your VODs for a little while, but I think
Yeah.
it's like 100 days for partners. So
Yeah.
anything over 100 days is gone. There's
You don't
no,
like have an archive or something on
I don't
YouTube?
have an archive. No, I don't know how to do that. Maybe there's ways to automate it, but
It's pretty easy. I have
yeah,
it set up. You just make a separate channel for stream archives. You link it to your channel,
yeah.
and when you're done with your stream, you just click export, and it'll automatically send it to YouTube.
Does that take? I mean, even if it takes a long time, that's not bad.
Yeah,
I was
it
thinking
does take
about
a
it.
while to send it, but all you have to do is do a couple clicks, and it's like, oh, I'm done.
Okay, that's not bad. I was doing like 12-hour days sometimes. So like
Oh yeah.
I was downloading my VODs and I was like, I can. There's no way I can
Yeah.
possibly like my computer would just be always like
Yeah. Yeah.
downloading and uploading with this amount of
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff. But maybe the automatic stuff won't be so bad. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for that tip. But yeah,
Mhm.
but once you're done streaming, it's like it kind of feels like you're putting a lot of work in and nothing's really
Yeah.
lasting. So it's kind of nice. Like I've been doing devlogs on YouTube, just kind
Yeah.
of summarizing what's been going on lately with the game development and kind of things in my life around it. And it's been really nice. It's almost been like a little snapshot of
Yeah.
like a journal, right? So I can look
Hmm.
back and be like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that, and oh yeah,
Hmm.
that's how the game looked back then, and it's kind of nice to
Yeah. Yeah.
have that.
It's fun to be able to easily look back on what you've done. I guess
Hmm.
that's harder with Twitch because, yeah,
Hmm.
you're not saving much.
Right.
And unless, of course, I guess I don't know, people take clips of your videos. It's like,
They do sometimes, but those are always so
yeah,
short, and it's almost like almost all my clips are like me doing something stupid and not like
yeah,
related to the game.
yeah, yeah. I guess like when I think of Twitch streamers who like blew up from something, it's usually because that something funny happened, somebody
Hmm.
clipped it and then shared it on Reddit, and then
Yeah.
that's how they blew up or something.
Right.
It's like,
Exactly.
yeah, how do you grow on Twitch? Otherwise,
You don't.
organically, how do you grow?
You get make YouTube videos
Yeah,
on other
that
platforms.
seems to be what it is. It's like such a weird like thing. Unless you're number one on Twitch, nobody's gonna want like discover you
Yeah.
or something.
It's so almost every day somebody comes into my stream and they're like, "There's a game development category?
Yeah,
I have no idea." I was like, "Yep, nobody did." Like,
yeah, nobody
it's so
does.
hidden.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely hard to grow on Twitch. I don't know. Some people have figured out and they just blow up, but I think
Hmm.
for the most part, it's difficult. You don't just keep getting, and that's another thing. Like YouTube, you put a video out, people will find it and comment
Hmm.
on it like months or years later. But
Yeah,
Twitch, like you're offline, no one's gonna find you.
yeah,
So yeah, I kind of want to. I kind of want to try branching out a little bit more, trying different platforms. I struggle with it though. Like you're like, oh, it's so easy to make a TikTok, but I'm like,
oh yeah,
I don't know what it is. I think there's some sort of like mental block for me where I try to
hmm,
make it and I get one hurdle and I don't know how to solve it, and I'm like, I just
yeah,
want to be streaming. It's so much easier.
yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess with me, it's like the opposite. Where I'm like, I don't. With streaming, it's like I can't edit everything. I'm just rambling. I don't know what I'm not. I'm not speaking in an interesting way. Like I just need to pause and like edit it out in a script, and then it'll be interesting to watch or something.
It's funny. You always hear these different comments from people going from YouTube to Twitch or vice versa. And actually, there's a video that you made that I watched that I think about all the time when I'm editing videos.
Hmm.
And you said something like, cut out everything that's not important of your video.
Yeah,
If you're breathing, cut it out. Nobody needs to
yeah,
hear you breathing.
yeah,
I was like, yeah,
yeah,
it's kind of true. I waste a lot of time breathing here. But I guess I don't think about that. If I started on Twitch, right? I have to go
yeah,
into the video and be like, no more breathing. Delete.
yeah. That's why it's like funny. I bought when I was. I don't know. My attitude earlier on when I was doing YouTube compared to now is so different. Like early on, I'm like, I'm gonna buy a camera. I'm gonna have a DLSR set up. I'll do shots where I'm talking, and I'll do shots showing this. And then now I'm like, why would I record myself? I'm talking about a game. Let me just show the game. Why would I waste time recording myself and then have to import that to my computer and then show people my face, which they don't care about? They just care about the game I'm talking about. And then it's like, what a waste to have a camera or something. It's like my attitude's like completely shifted now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I did one of my dev vlogs without any. I just did voiceover for
Hmm.
it because I don't know. I was just like wanting to get it out. It's so
Yeah,
much faster too.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
why waste time with a camera, especially if you're just highlighting a game, like you said? It's such a good
yeah. Something I've noticed with there's like a lot of game dev YouTubers I think are inspired by like Danny, who've been doing like green screen stuff, and they'll be like, let's put myself on the camera and pointing at this thing, and and all I can think about is like how much time are you spending recording yourself, chroma keying it out, putting your editing yourself into your video, pointing at this thing when you could just put an arrow pointing at the thing
idea.
and then accomplish the exact same thing. And like, I don't know, is it really worth it? Is it really worth that time? I'm just like,
You have the right attitude for
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah,
I think some people are like, I want to have like a good quality video, but you're right. Like it's just wasting time, and people watching
yeah,
YouTube probably don't. care at all. They
Yeah,
probably prefer an arrow because it's very
yeah,
clear. It's less distracting.
yeah. There's this one channel is really good, Brick Technology. He does like cool Lego builds,
Hmm.
and there's no music, there's no voiceover, just like a couple text things, and it's just showing the build. And he did this whole blog post talking about his editing style and how he approached it, and like, and it's just like all about, just be clean and efficient and show the interesting parts. And uh, I mean, it's super in depth, but it's worth a read, I think, for every YouTuber. And it's just like, wow, it's so good. His videos are so good. And it's just like building a Lego thing, and it's like, it's so simple and just to the point, and all the interesting parts are shown, and it just like feels good to watch. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's yeah, some people really get the satisfaction
yeah,
down when they're editing. Like
hmm,
I like home renovation stuff and like interior design, that kind of
mm,
thing. And so when the way that they do it is like they'll show just enough so you understand what went into it, and they'll show like,
yeah,
you scraped one wall, and just, they did that for like 1 second, but really in reality it took them like days, and then
yeah,
they sanded it, but they spent hours sanding it in reality, and they just get like the highlights, little
yeah,
bits, and then you get the satisfaction, and you're like, wow,
hmm,
cool, got to see the whole process. It's kind of
yeah,
like it's almost like fake. You're like, oh wow, that's so easy. I could do that.
yeah. Like my woodworker friend, he does these like Instagram videos where he does
Hmm.
a lot of hand chiseling, and
Hmm.
he'll just do like time lapse or like quick edits where it just shows like a few like satisfying punches, and it just like cuts down like an hour work into like 3 seconds or
Yeah,
something. And it's like so satisfying. Like, dang,
it is.
it's like, maybe I should chisel wood.
There's also another thing came up in conversation recently was how much like when you're passionate about what you're doing, it really shows. And for example, do you remember that, or not? Do you remember? I think he's still just as relevant. The guy who like does train spotting, and when he sees a train
Mm.
coming in, he's like freaking out that this specific train is coming.
I think I
Like,
saw that ages ago.
yeah, like yeah, he blew up a while ago, but I don't think anyone cares about train spotting or what he's talking about. It's just something about watching somebody be so passionate is like
Yeah,
a feel good thing that you get out of it. But I guess that's kind of like hard when you're streaming game development because
yeah,
even
it's
though I'm
just
passionate about it, I'm like often like struggling,
yeah.
thinking
Like,
like,
watch me sit in silence for 3 hours just doing this. I'm like, I'm having a great time. Trust me. Like,
yeah,
or I get some random bug and I'm sitting there like swearing and like, the fuck does this stupid thing work? And like, and it's
like
like,
the opposite of the train guy.
yeah, I hate this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, my go-to is always like, That's it. I'm becoming like a dental hygienist today." Or like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna become a garbage person." Like, take out the garbage for people. So wait, okay. So you do YouTube videos and you do TikToks. Do you post your TikToks to like YouTube as shorts as well?
I tried, I think with one, and it like did like whatever, and I was just like, I don't know if this is worth it. Like, whatever. I don't know. And then I guess I kind of just had this attitude of like, because I tried recently also streaming on YouTube for a bit, and it
Hmm.
just felt like I don't like this because it doesn't feel clean. I don't know. I like having my YouTube channel be this its own thing where it's just like, here's all my videos that are good, and then that's it, and there's nothing else on there. It's just
Hmm.
the videos. There's no like distractions of having all these shorts at the top or like the streams here or whatever.
Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
I don't know. I don't know if there was any. Maybe I should try it. Maybe I'm dumb for not doing it, but it just seemed like an extra thing that wasn't worth the time. But
It
maybe
does
it
kind of sound
is.
like a trade-off the way you're describing it, because if somebody comes and wants to watch one of your videos and they just click
Yeah,
on the short by mistake, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that wasn't. I wanted something longer," and you
yeah,
actually
yeah.
have longer videos. So
I don't, I just feel like every time I've seen game developers do shorts, it's like all their videos have like 100,000 views or whatever, and then here's a short and it just has like 10 or something, and I'm like, I've never seen. I guess Garbage actually he's done really well with shorts, so maybe I am dumb for not doing that.
I guess it
But
might depend like the type of content, because a lot of our
yeah,
game dev content goes to game developers, but if you make content that goes to the general public, then
hmm,
that might pick up. Like your TikToks probably go to general public because it's just talking about like cool features of your game, so you don't
yeah,
have to be a game developer to get
yeah,
into that.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess I also just wonder about like how much does it transfer to sales, and like because I feel like let's see, if you're watching a short, you watch it and you swipe to the next one. But whereas with YouTube, you watch a whole video and you get absorbed in. But I guess with TikTok, it's the same, and I've gotten a lot of sales from that.
Yeah, that's what I
So
was gonna say.
yeah.
Because I guess kind of why I haven't really dug into TikTok much is I wonder how good. How do you know that the conversion is coming from TikTok to your game?
So I mean, originally it was just that. I guess my thing is I don't do something, I just assume they don't work until somebody tells me that it's working well, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I should do this. So like, I never did TikTok until this one game dev who was doing pretty well on there messaged me. He wanted advice on YouTube and was just like, I can give you tips for TikTok. I was like, well, I don't really do it. He was like, you should be. I've gotten this many wish lists just off of it. And I was like, really? And then so I followed his advice. He gave me a bunch of tips on what to do. So I made one TikTok for Rot Flesh, and then it got 1 million views in 24 hours. The
Hmm.
first TikTok I did, completely organic, 1 million views, translated, and then by the end of the day, I had gained 5,000 wish lists on
Wow,
Steam. So I was like, okay, well, that's good conversion.
that's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, it was just like, okay, that does work. Okay, I think the main key is you just keep it simple, and you have to have a landing page. Just like look up this, look up the game title, this, and then people do look it up, and then they hit wish list or whatever.
Oh, so they don't even click on your stuff through TikTok. They actually
No,
look it up separately.
yeah, I think
Wow.
so because I'm pretty sure TikTok doesn't like putting links and stuff.
Right.
And
It's kind of
most
out.
people don't actually go to your profile. They just like check the comments. They don't even read the caption. I'll put the name in the caption, and there'll be like 20 comments asking what the game's called. And it's like, can't you read? It's right there. Like, and
Yeah, that
then,
sounds about right. Huh.
yeah,
That's so interesting. Hmm. So, are you doing, you mentioned doing less YouTube. Is that just because I don't know. Is there any reason why you've been doing less?
just because I don't need to do more, I guess. I don't have to promote as much stuff, and my games are standing on their own now. Also,
Yeah.
yeah, cool thing about having like more successful and better games is that more streamers and YouTubers play them.
Hmm.
So that's like pushing a lot of sales that, and I don't need to push as much anymore.
That makes sense.
Um,
You have other people doing the content creation
yeah,
for you.
it's like okay, I don't need to do this, so I want. Um, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't feel as necessary. Mostly when I did it before, it was because I had to do it. It felt like, and now it's just like I only do it when it's like I feel like I want to. Though I have been toying with the idea of just doing like on my second channel, like I have like a bunch of ideas for videos to talk about that it's not for like the sake of promoting anything or getting tons of views. It's more just like I've had a bunch of people ask me this question, so I'll just answer it in a video, and then when people ask me again, I can just point into that, or maybe it'll be helpful to people because a lot of people it seems like are confused about this, so I'll just answer it and then they can learn from it or something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So it's more of a functional goal with your YouTube for partially to promote your games, but also just to kind of get information out.
Main YouTube channel is just promoting games is the main thing, and then
Okay.
second would be just like sharing information and doing like I guess more casual stuff that I don't care about. Kind of like I have a podcast, and it's not that's probably never going to make any money or anything. It's just kind of like a fun thing, and when it's just like oh, I want to talk to this person, and like it would be fun to hang out and just talk about making games for an hour or something, and it's like yeah, that was kind of like my reason for doing a podcast was just to like make friends with more developers kind of.
So you have been doing a podcast or you want to be doing one?
Yeah, I have been doing it, but it's like it's not very consistent at all. It's like
Hmm.
we do one episode like every 2 months or something.
Actually, I think I have listened to your podcast before.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. Game development podcasts are like, they're so rare, I find.
Yeah,
And it's kind of nice just to hear game developers talk about their
usually
experience.
I think usually they're like a gamer podcast where they talk about
Yeah.
games, or it's like it's a game design podcast, but none of us have ever made a game or something. And it's like
Right.
okay,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's nice to see game dev podcasts. So you're gonna keep doing all of your different things, but just probably not as often. Is that kind of the plan?
pretty much just YouTube and TikTok, I guess. I mean,
Okay.
just gonna make games, a couple of videos, TikToks here and there. Maybe down the road, I don't know. I might do something different, but I don't have any plans to right now. Just kind of this is working and I like it. So
Mhm.
the only thing I could see is it's like if my games start doing really well and I start making a lot of money, maybe I'll like start hiring a couple people or something to help me with like a lot, be able to do more work for me or something. full-time artist or something would be nice. But yeah, that's like that's about it for like growth, I guess, or changing things. Yeah.
Hmm. Cool.
And you're just sticking to Twitch and like working on YouTube, I guess, right? Or like,
Yeah, I mean, like the game is still the main priority, but with
mm-hmm.
Twitch, I kind of like it. It kind of goes hand in hand. Like I can stream and work at the same time, so that's just me working. I see it as, but I do kind of
Yeah.
like doing content around it as well. I don't know. It's kind of fun. Content creation is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
even this, for example, like I was like thinking about how there's all these different people that I've kind of connected with, but haven't had a chance to sit down and have like a good conversation about things. And like this
Mm-hmm.
is, I don't know, I find this kind of thing so interesting to hear about how you go about things, why you do
Mm-hmm.
things. And I'm sure other people would find that interesting as well. So, you know, it's nice to do these types of things in addition to
Mm-hmm.
Twitch.
Yeah. It's fun to try out different things. Just get that, I don't know, variety is fun.
Hmm.
And oh yeah, how long have you been working on your game? The Strain, right?
3 years, yeah, strain.
3 years, dang.
Yeah.
And it's almost done, right?
It's getting there. I just
It's
put out the
good.
demo in the Kickstarter, and like after watching people play it and getting a lot of feedback on the demo, like uh, I ended up doing some overhauling. So I kind of like took everything
Mm.
apart, redid some stuff, did things
Yeah.
differently, and now I'm kind of putting it back together. So there's still a chunk of work to do, and it's hard to tell exactly how much, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's getting there, and it's I feel like it's going in a lot of a much better direction now that I've had a significant amount of input, which is hard to get while you're working
Mm-hmm.
on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Very true. I should probably do public demos. That would be a good idea for playtesting.
Mm, yeah, they're
Um,
handy.
and then after this, are you planning to do like smaller games? Or are you gonna try doing another long game?
We'll see. I'm trying not to get too like attached to anything because I don't want to get excited about something else when I still have a job, like a current project on the
Yeah.
go. And B, I feel like with things changing so much, I don't know how relevant some of the ideas will be in 6 months, for example.
Mm.
Like even
Mm-hmm.
with AI coming out, that's all the access we have to AI is making me wonder if some of the games I thought like I've been wanting to make, but the tools weren't really there. Like now the tools
Yeah.
are there, and maybe
Yeah.
that type of thing should be like the next thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna decide once Strain's done what's next. We're gonna
Yeah.
do one thing at a time.
Yeah. I know for me, it was like after Rot Flesh, it was like almost 3 years of development, I think.
Hmm.
And then I was just like, I'm never doing a game that takes a long time to make again. Like this is too much, and it's just like just 1 month, 2 month kind of things. That I think is from now on because I don't know. It's so much more satisfying to make something when you can actually finish it quickly.
So how long did it take to make your next game?
I know Parasitic was like I'd say till release it was like 2 months of solid work. I did 1 month of crunch up until release, and then kind of during the year before I did like a little bit here and there, which added up to a month. I'd say.
Mm. Yeah, there's a huge desire to do a very small game
Yeah.
and continue to do small games, but
Yeah.
you know, it's weird. Like I was for a long time I was thinking like, oh man, I'd let this project get too big. But now I kind of feel like the opposite. I feel like I could never have made a game that's like this interesting
Hmm.
in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So I would have had to compromise the game I want to make and the game I want to play uh, for the time it takes to make it, which is a you know it's a fair compromise. But there's something rewarding about having the patience and putting time into a long project. I'm sure
Hmm.
you must have felt that with Raw Flesh.
Yeah, that's true. Um, I mean, it's like, I guess it's a satisfaction of like when you build up a whole bunch of systems and that all work together, and then
Hmm.
it's like, okay, now I have this huge system built. Now I can put a bunch of stuff on top of it, and even farther down the road, I can keep building onto that system as much as I want, and I can always add more to it.
Hmm.
Um, Whereas I guess with a smaller game, it's more like you make a small thing that's kind of like a ball that's all connected. And it's like once it's done, here's the ball. It's hard to like add more onto it, use it as a
Hmm.
foundation for more stuff.
I'm sure you can still make a small game that can be expanded, but like you said, when there's so many systems, I guess there's just so many areas that you can like add to and
Yeah.
have updates for and stuff like that.
Mhm. And I don't know. I want to mess with mod support more. There's like a some like mod support add-on for Godot that uh, the devs of the add-on told me about, and were like, "Here, you just add it to your game. It's easy." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I kind of want to like mess with more mod support, more community like content creation. I think would be really fun because
That
I
sounds
know that's
amazing.
something like every game or the past two games I've done now. It's like everyone wants that, and so it just I need like an easy way to add it, where it's like, yeah, it's just it's so much work to add that on. I'm like, I feel like hiring a second programmer would be good just to be like, I want mod support. Here, you make it. I
Right.
don't want to do it. I want
Yeah.
it in the game, but I don't want to make it. It's too much
That
work.
sounds amazing. Mod support would be so fun. Do you know what
Yeah,
kind of things you would allow the community to make? And would they make it through, how would they make it? Is that sort of, is it Godot mod support connected to Steam's
it's
Steam
like
community or whatever it's
you
called?
can. I think there's like ways you could add it to Steam Workshop. I know some people who've done it. I think Brotato has done it,
Okay.
and yeah, I've heard of it, but it's extra steps. But the way from what I read about this add-on that I'm using, apparently Brotato uses the same add-on. Is it's just like you use these tools to decompile the game, and then you can make extra stuff using their API to plug into the existing code, and then you export that. And anyone who wants to use it just puts that thing you made and drops it into their games directory or something. And so it's pretty plug and play for the end user, but if you're making it, sounds like more steps.
Hmm.
But yeah, I
That
think
sounds,
Godot, just the way the engine's designed, it seems like it's easier to mod than most other stuff because there's not as much like binaries. It's more like it's easy to decompile and like actually mess with the actual code of the game.
that sounds really exciting. So
Hmm.
is that one of the four projects, or like you want to put it into any one of the four that you have in mind?
Yeah, I like to put it in everything. I mean,
Yeah.
if possible, like
Yeah,
yeah,
because
just
yeah,
easy
let
mod
people add
support
to
would be
it.
good.
It'd be cool. It makes it
Yeah,
so much more expandable if other people are helping make stuff.
it's like a mod support. So with this, it seems like it's easy to add this kind of mod support, but it's not as user friendly. Whereas like doing something like a level editor is a lot more user friendly. That's
Mhm.
something I want to add also to my games. Just like I mean, endoparasitic, I'd like to add a level editor, but that takes a lot more work to make. It's like okay, I have to make tools for like painting tiles in and then saving it and sharing it and loading it. Have to make a whole system for that,
Mhm.
but then it allows people with less technical skills to make content and
Yeah,
have fun making content for it. So
that sounds
yeah, more people can make more stuff easily.
that sounds awesome. I mean, how are you liking Godot? Did you start? Did you only use Godot and just stuck with it because you liked it?
I started with Unity
You started with
back in
Unity.
like 2013.
Uh huh.
How long have you been using Unity, right?
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
So
When did you start with it?
I guess it'd be like I started kind of playing around with it in like 7-ish years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, and I was started doing using it more and more. And
Yeah.
the last 5 or 6 years, it's been full time.
Okay. Yeah. 2013 was like, I think when it started to blow up, like Brackeys was like really blowing up with his tutorials. And it was like right about then. They had their free version wasn't the same as their pro version. And it was like, if you wanted to use shadows, you had to use a pro version.
Oh, I
But the
remember
free
that.
version, they just like, I remember like I was using it and a couple months later, they made a big deal about how it was like, okay, now you can have directional shadows. With directional lights, you can have shadows, but only for one light. And it was like, everyone was like, oh my God, we can use shadows now in the free version. And that was like my first game actually used that directional shadows as like a main mechanic. But
Huh.
yeah, that was like so long ago, geez. And then like 1 year later, it was like, okay, it's the same, but if you're making more than 100 grand, you have to pay for the pro license, and then that would like
First, they
change
had
everything.
you couldn't get dark mode at
Yeah.
first for a
Oh
long
yeah,
time.
yeah.
That was what you
You
guys
couldn't get
got.
dark mode. I didn't even know dark mode was a thing though.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about programming. Um, then yeah, so I used it for like 4 years, and then there was like I'd been hearing about Godot. I was like, whoa, open source engine, that's cool. And then, but I never looked at it until I wanted to do a 2D game I was thinking about, and then like a lot of the mechanics that I wanted just weren't, or a lot of the tools I wanted, like a tile map editor and stuff, weren't in Unity at that time, and also like nested prefabs weren't in Unity yet, and there's just like a bunch of usability things that I wanted that were in Godot and weren't in Unity. So I was like, all right, let's try it out. And then I started using it and I really enjoyed it. And I just ended up sticking with it. And the whole process of using Engine just felt like very intuitive and fun coming from Unity.
Hmm.
And I like the interpreted language. So it's like, all right, I write something and I run the game. I don't have to wait for it to compile. Um, so yeah, it was just very fun to use. And then I ended up sticking with it and I never went back. And um, there were times where it was like working on a 3D game. It was like Godot didn't has like not really had great 3D support for a long time. I think it's gotten better with Godot 4, but I haven't used Godot 4's features at all, or for 3D. But so I was like, maybe I should go back to Unity for this. But then I just think of all the stuff I didn't like, and I was like, nah, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to relearn Unity.
Mm.
And then recently I used Unity again for like a collab with Blackthorn Prod, and I was like, wow, I don't like using Unity. This is not fun. Going back to it was not fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, just Unity and Godot have been the only engines I've used. Have you only used Unity?
I have, yeah. I mean, I do have an interest in trying the other ones, but like, especially since I've been on this project for a long time, and I'm obviously not going to switch engines mid-project.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like even if I were to try another engine and really like it, I'm still not going to switch, and it wouldn't be if I did, it wouldn't be for quite a while.
Yeah.
And even if I did, it would be like a lot of work. So
Yeah.
while I'm interested to see what the other engines do, I'm not even
Yeah.
really going to start investing time until there's an opportunity to work in them a little bit more because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's just going to divide my time and learning, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe like when you're done, you can just be like, all right, let's try this engine for like a game jam or something, and just
Yeah,
like
that's kind of what I'd
experiment.
like to do. Just do some exploration and kind of leveling up a little bit before the next game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I always think about like, oh, I want to just take some time and like learn more of this and like maybe practice writing or something and before my next game. But then it's just like it's always like, oh, but my next game's so cool, I just want to start it now or something. Or like as soon as I'm done, it's like I got to start on this, and then there's no, I just never feel like there's a the right time to actually like take a break and just work on skills or something. I always just want to jump to the next thing. But I also feel like I always learn the most when I'm actually working on something. If I
Hmm.
set a time aside to like just practice and like develop the skill, I feel like I don't get anywhere. Like I think I tried for a while. I was like, all right, I want to get better at art, so let's do some painting every day. And then I felt like I was getting nowhere. And then I was like, let's work on this game, and I need to develop a new art style and or something. And then I feel like I got really good at art, just having to make art for that game. And it was like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. That's kind of the biggest benefit to doing small projects and probably like the biggest reason to like recommend it to people is not necessarily, I mean, there's a lot that goes into a big project, but I feel like you learn a lot with every game you make. And it's
mm-hmm.
like you can apply those new learnings to the next one. So like you can grow in a more manageable way. Whereas like since I started this project, I feel like I've learned a ton and I could probably remake it faster. So that's why
Yeah,
like smaller projects are better because you like grow a
yeah,
little bit with each one.
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Something I was thinking for like second channel video would be just talking about here's all the things that I use in every game I do now, like things I don't know, certain things I've just figured out how to do that are modular and easy, and I just end up reusing every single time. And I don't, I don't know, you'll probably want to use in your game too or something and talk about it like that.
Hmm.
No, it's like, yeah, there's definitely like things you just build up over the years that are like always reusable, even if the game is completely different from the last game.
Hmm.
Um, oh, yeah, like the main one is just like UI sound effects. How do you, um, okay, I want a sound, but every time I hover over a button, it should play a sound. If I click on it, it should play a sound. And it's like, so now I just have this one thing that just, I put it in the scene, it connects to every button, and it syncs up every one of these actions to this sound. And then I don't have to like think
Yeah.
about manually connecting it. I just add it in. I don't know how it works in Unity, but
It's
yeah,
similar. You just add it
yeah,
to it's kind of like the component you add to it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's like, yeah, I used to like when I was starting out, I would just like add a sound effect to every button or something. And then I was like, oh wait, this is dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely learn systems, and like you said, they can be reusable. It makes it a
Mm-hmm.
lot faster the next time.
It's also interesting learning about like what you should actually make reusable. But I feel like I don't know, like a lot of the time I've noticed there's like a tendency where it's like, okay, I'm going to make this system. So I need to make this character move and act in a certain way. Well, let's make it modular so then I can use it on multiple characters. But then I never actually use it on multiple characters, so it just felt like a waste of time. So it's like, okay, let's not more bother about making it modular. And if I find out I do need to make it modular, then I'll make it modular. But until then, don't worry about it. And then, yeah, I don't know. There's like a lot of like, I remember like studying computer science and like learning software engineering stuff and trying to apply that to making games. And it just like completely killed my ability to make games for like a long time until
Mm.
I was like, wait, I'm not making anything. Whereas before I knew this stuff, I made tons of stuff. So then I was just like, I had to kind of like forget that and then kind of gradually start to integrate it and like figure out actual real world uses of it
That's
instead of
funny.
like textbook stuff.
Wow. Yeah, I hear that.
Did you study CS or?
No, I studied physics, which
Oh, yeah.
was not meant to be related to game development. I guess it kind of does relate though.
Yeah. I mean, I took two physics classes and all I remember are kinematic equations, which I use all the time.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Yeah. That's the only one though.
I could definitely use some of the skills I have learned if I remember them better, but like it's
Yeah.
been a long time and I haven't used them in
Yeah.
a long time. Well, thank you so much for joining. It's been really awesome to talk to you. And yeah, thanks again.
Yeah. That's been fun. Thank you for having me. Um, yeah. I don't know. Any like closing things I should do or
Yeah, where can people find you?
Miziziziz on YouTube, um, or Twitter or TikTok. Same thing everywhere. I don't really stream anymore, but yeah, follow me or my games on Steam, Rot Flesh, and Endoparasitic.
Awesome.
Thank you.